Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso. My experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical companies to 7, 8, and even 9 figures. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. It's just telling you how I did this. And I hope that helps you guys. I want to help you be a better leader at home, at work, everywhere in between. So, guys, we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart today. We're going to talk about Krypton, right?
Yes, that's exactly what
Let's
we're going
do
to
it.
talk about. First, I want to touch base on something that you posted about your car. And this was interesting to me. So, not knowing much about supercars, your car sat for a few days and the battery died. And so you can't jump it. But where you took it, thought you could jump it. So they tried to jump the car
Yeah.
and then fried it. So, how was that call when you got it?
Honestly, when it wasn't a call that I got. So that's the whole problem. That was the issue. I didn't get a call about it. So, yes, I brought my Lamborghini to a tin shop. They let it sit for a few days and didn't have it on a trickle charger, which comes with the car. I gave it to them. But that car is difficult because if you Google and you YouTube online, they all say, well, you should plug it into this port that's in the front area. That's wrong. It's completely wrong. But it's like the most viewed video, and everybody thinks that's where the plug is because other exotics have that same fucking plug. Completely wrong. The other battery is charged in the back. So the Lamborghini Revuelto, it has 3 actual electric motors. And so different batteries in different areas of the car. And so there's a pretty much second charger in the back on the bumper where you're supposed to actually charge it. They didn't know that. So the car sat plugged into the wrong side. It ended up dying. And I guess in an attempt to not bother me at all, they jumped the car to get it up, and it took them 5 hours that they said to figure out how to get this car jumped, which again would have been a very easy solution had they just called. That being said, when I went to pick up the car, they had a check engine light on it, and it said, like, change the oil. And sometimes when you drive these new cars, like 500 miles at the beginning, it triggers like, hey, just make sure, check the oil, the engine's being broken in, etc. So I took it to Lambo, and Lambo's like, did you jump this car? And I'm like, no, not that I know of. And so I called the shop, and the shop's like, oh, yeah, well, we had to jump it. All right, well, you didn't fucking tell me that at
So
all.
that's how you
That's
found
how I
out.
found out. I took it to the dealership to get worked on
Yeah.
to clear the code. I thought it was just a code that needed to be cleared. And so that's when I found out it had been jumped. And then moving forward a little bit, they said, "Well, what did you jump it with?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. Let me ask." And it turns out that they jumped it with this, an old school jumper instead of jumping it from another vehicle, which is another issue you can't do with those hybrids and that car specifically. So yeah, they fried the battery. They fried the battery's control unit, is something like 11 grand in damage
Oh, wow.
between the 2 parts. Yep. And the shop covered it all. They had, the Lambo's like, "Well, we'll warranty out the head unit." So the 8 grand for the head unit will warranty out, but the other 4 grand that you gotta pay for the battery, that's on, we're gonna make the shop pay for that because they were stupid.
Ooh, they got lucky with that.
Yep, they got super lucky. It would have been a, $12,000 job all in, and it's not done yet. It's not even back yet. So they're still working through it. They're still having to figure out how to reprogram this thing from Italy because they don't know how to. It's so new. They don't know any of these ins and outs of working on this vehicle, right? They're still learning about it. But that being said, the lesson was they should have been upfront right away about it. They should have fucking told me about it right away. I would have probably told them to do the same thing. Well, jump it or figure out how to jump it or call Lamborghini. Either way, we would have figured out what was going on or how to solve it earlier. Instead, they kind of covered it up to make sure I wasn't like bothered or upset about it. While in the same breath, they made it fucking worse. Because then they went from just a dead vehicle that's like, "Hey, we left it. We don't know how to charge it, obviously. Can you help us figure this out?" To, well, now I had to find out that you fucking did not tell me, lies of omission, and you fried the battery, and you fried the fucking control unit because you jumped it wrong.
Yeah.
The When you are dealing with high level people, they don't care if you make a mistake. They don't care if there's an issue that needs to be solved or a problem, and you communicate to that to them quickly and upfront about it. We do care if you fucking hide it or you lie about it. That's when we care.
'Cause that was like they blatantly hid it, 'cause they didn't even tell you after the fact. They didn't realize that part.
Yeah,
Like, you had to go find out somewhere else,
yeah,
and
I
then
did. Yeah, I had a call, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why didn't you tell me?" Like, I get it, you maybe were scared of me or whatever, but now it's a fucking problem. 100% it's a problem. So, again, you're dealing with high level people, guys. Be open, be honest early on. They're not gonna burn you to the ground. They will, though, if you fucking lie. Period. Those are like the two things that I absolutely go fucking unhinged about. Absolutely unhinged. Straight up lie to my fucking face. And when it comes to business and shit, I remember fucking everything. But when it comes to eating breakfast and what my wife says, I remember nothing.
I love how you threw "and what my wife
Yeah,
says"
I
in there.
remember nothing.
Uh,
But when it comes to that, I remember fucking everything in business. So just don't fucking lie. Don't lie, and you'll be fine. And that includes lies of omissions. But if you lie to my face, I will burn you to the ground. And so will any other high level person. Period. Because that's all we expect is the truth up front. Get the problem solved. We'll get it out of our heads.
yeah. Wow, interesting. Well, speaking of something that you post online, something else that you've posted on Instagram. So if you're listening and you don't follow Dr. Alex on Instagram, you absolutely need to do that. It is full of incredible content, but also situations and stories like this and lessons that you can pull from it. So make sure you're following Dr. Alex Spinoso on Instagram. But so something else that you posted on Instagram was your Superman tattoo. And that's what we're going to dive into today. So if somebody has been following you, they know you have a Superman tattoo and it's really big and it's across your back and it's like your entire back. And before for you, it's like comic books aren't just entertainment, like they're a way that you live your life. It is a principle that you really use when it comes to leadership, business, relationships, your family, all of it. So we're going to go a little more personal on you today and talk about what this means and why and how you use all of these things that you've learned from Superman and implement those things to create a bigger life, live with purpose, and really also stay grounded in the process. So, the Superman movie isn't even out yet, right? Or
Oh, it
did it
is.
come out
It
a couple
is. I
days
haven't seen it
ago?
yet.
Okay.
It came out a few days ago.
Okay, because I told
By
my
the time this airs, a few weeks or maybe even a month ago.
the trailer looks fantastic. I'm not, somebody who's like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this movie or that movie," but after I watched the trailer, I was like, "Okay, I wanna go see that." So my son and I are planning a date day, to go see that, so it will happen soon. You haven't seen it either
I
yet.
haven't. I haven't.
So this'll be fun. So we're gonna
Mhm.
talk about this, then you're gonna see the movie, and then maybe I'll ask you about it again. So I wanna hear what you think about this new version. Um, you've been living this Superman, uh, method for many decades. Many, I say many as if you're like 90 years
Yeah.
old. But anyway,
Mm,
uh,
eh,
I think the first
feels
pla
like 90.
the first place to start is what is the biggest lesson Krypton has taught you?
Mm. The more people you help, the more people you save, the more people will put you on a pedestal and make it known about how great you are. I think that's the biggest thing. And in the end, whatever you're trying to do, as if you're still trying to be great and save and protect others, there will be people who villainize you at the same time. 100%.
Wow, that's interesting. Superman saves the world, and at the same time, he always returns to his Smallville. What does that mean for you and your own life?
Yeah, that was a big part, and comics all have, to some degree, some aspect of humanity with every hero. That's the way that they were written, that's the way that a lot of these characters were invented. They came out of when we were going into World War II, when we were having segregation issues. All of the superheroes out there are based off some sort of historical moment or gave birth to from that. And with Superman, it was that he is he can be anywhere in the world in a split second. He can be anywhere in the universe in a split second. And so in scope, he is really galactic. He's global. Beyond that, he's universal. He's galactic, but he keeps going back to his small home in Kansas, and that was because, or at least in the comics, and the lesson there is that you can be huge. You can have it all. You can have really the world power at your fingertips, but you have to keep yourself grounded. You could have that big vision, everything that you want, but keep yourself grounded. You gotta go back to that. And there's entrepreneurs out there who are really great, and they'll always tell you, "Go back to when you had nothing." Try and create that mindset again that you are in the trenches, that you're just building things up, that you can't afford what you can't afford now. Put yourself back against the ropes, back against the wall, because that's when your greatness shines as an entrepreneur. That's when you, either put up or shut up, if you will. And so entrepreneurs forget what that feels like sometimes. Leaders forget what that feels like sometimes. You just end up after a while thinking you're the shit or you've made it. And what happens is that when you start to think you've made it, when you start to think you've won, that's when your biggest loss comes. That's when something out of left field punches you right in the gut. And so I try and stay out of that thought as much as possible. Every once in a while, you gotta have attitude. You gotta have that chip on the shoulder to think, yeah, I could change the world. I'm going to change the world. I'm gonna be the best at what I do. But you still have to somewhat stay a little bit uh, humble on the backside to make sure that you can learn, you can improve, you can ground yourself and stay rooted in what's real rather than rooted in what's on Instagram, because those two things do not translate to each other.
Mm. What does home look like for you? Like, he goes back home. What does that look like for you at this phase in your life? Like, how does that help keep you grounded?
Home is walking, out of the doors of my office and seeing my kids say "Poppy" and giving me hugs and kisses and asking me how my day is going and, seeing Camila and my wife. Those are the things that are home for me. That's what grounds me. That's what helps me stay, home. And, you know, business and work and being able to create in my office, that's home for me. That's something that I like. That's something that I want to do and continue to grow and continue to expand. But I think it's just returning to that. I'm sure it'd be the same for you as well.
Well, what do you feel
Well,
like?
no, because my home sucks.
Well, uh, I think sometimes it's actually going home, like going back to Ohio where I grew up. Um, Sometimes that's what almost feels like I take a deep breath and everything else just kinda falls away, and so it's a nice disconnect. So, like, my si us always stay at my sister's house, and she lives on a few acres, and she's got, like, a picnic bench in the back. I mean, it's a very mid-Ohioan home, like, and so there's dogs running around, and skunks outside, like deer everywhere. So I think that kinda those moments give me a deep breath of like, okay, I can kind of S I don't know, I guess step into this idea of home because it's obviously not home. I actually moved back there at one point and was like, "Why did I come back here?" But that's different than going and visiting family, seeing, my grandmothers. Both my grandmothers are still living. So just, like, touching base, I guess, at a place where people don't really care what I'm doing on a daily basis. Like, I remember my mom at one point, uh, I had my first product I ever developed was, like, in Shape magazine as the Try It product of the year, and it was, like, huge accomplishment for me. And I was like, I told my family and they were like, "Oh, that's cool." My sister probably thought it was cooler than anyone else because my sister knows the magazine and, like, had been more along the journey with me, but, my mom and dad and grandparents, they were just like, "Okay, cool." But then I was, like, in the local newspaper when I opened a store there, and they were ecstatic, and they posted about it on social media, and
That's
I was like,
awesome.
"That's, like, the local newspaper." Like,
Wow.
they're ecstatic about the local newspaper, but not about a national campaign, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." Because they just to them, it was like the their circle of people could also be excited about it. So, like, that also made me go like, "Okay, these big things I'm creating for my own life, to them just don't really that doesn't mean very much." Especially my grandmas, they're like, happy for me, but I don't even know if they really comprehend some of the things I'm doing, So my aunt recently messaged me, she's like, "I can't really figure out what you do for work." And I was like, "I work with Genesis, a medical company, a national medical company," and she's like, "Oh, okay." It's just kinda like has no, it's
That
just, "Oh, okay, cool," like,
sounds
has no idea.
awful.
So so the going home thing, that just kinda takes all these ideas I have of what I'm doing and just takes it back down to, like, none of that stuff really matters to them. So that's my idea of going home.
I
I
love that.
mean, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, does it feel like that for you when you go visit your parents
No,
in California?
it feels weird when I go visit my parents in California. It really does. I have never been a big homebody, meaning that from literally the day I left high school and went to college, I hadn't lived in the same place for more than 3.5, almost 4 years straight. Every 3.5 to 4 years from when I was, I don't know, 17, 18, and I went to college, beyond that. After the 4 years and after, like, I went high school, went to Dartmouth College, that was 4 years. After that, I moved to England for the beginning of med school, that was 2 years. Then I moved to Costa Rica for, like, 8 months doing research, and then I went to, California to do my residency, and that was 3.5 years. Um, and then I still lived in California, but I moved from one place to another in California, for a few years, I think 3 years? Yeah, 2.5, 3 years, then I moved from California to, Las Vegas. From that, we lived there for almost 3 years, then we moved from Las Vegas to Dallas, and so, for those counting, I'm 39. Uh, uh, but that being said, for a good, gosh, almost almost 20 years now, every 3.5, 4 years, I mean, like, I'm like, I get antsy. Fucking was like, "Okay, time to leave this place and time to move on. It's time to maybe a rebirth, reset, regrowth, like something. What's the next step?" And I'm not one of those people where they have the studies that are like, "Well, most people stay within 30 miles of where they grew up. Most people never leave their homes, um, or their areas that they grew up in." And I just have never been that type of person. I've never been that case. It would always it would probably bother me at this point to be in the same place for a long period of time, and even now we stay in this house, and, we only have lived here 6 months, but Steph and I are already talking like, "Okay, do we like, is this gonna be the forever home? This is supposed to be the forever home. Is this really gonna be the forever home? Do we are we gonna look at another place in 3 to 4 years? What does that look like?" So I think that's home for me has never been home. When I go back to California now, besides it being the fucking crazy communist state that it is because of the psychopaths that run it, it's a beautiful place, but it just doesn't feel like home to me. It just feels like
Mhm.
a place I'm visiting. It feels weird. Like, why the fuck did they build the highways like this? Sort of thing, you know? It just feels like that when you go some places sometimes. And so no, home it's never been home for me because I've never my home has always been where I am, really. They say home is where the heart is. I guess as you wanna take that, literally where your organ is, where my heart is has always been kinda my home. I could live anywhere and be anywhere and do anything, and now I have the kids and my wife, so that's kinda where, like, home is to me from now on. It's not like a place for me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's with the people, it sounds like, that you're with. That's where home feels like. How
I
can
think
leaders create Smallville moments for themselves in the midst of these crazy lives that entrepreneurs tend to have?
I think that when it comes to leaders and creating those moments where you do come home or you do go back is exactly that. Figuring out what is your piece? What's your piece for you? It's going home to Ohio. What's my piece for me? Just coming home, literally, figuratively from where I am living. For others, it might be other things. It might be going to the gym. It might be going to their garage. It might be spending time with certain people in their lives. Like, what is their Smallville moment that brings them back? That it might just be meditating without any human interaction whatsoever.
Mm.
So finding out what makes you tick, finding out what fills your cup back up, it's extremely important to make sure that you stay grounded. And while you're thinking of what makes you grounded and what like fills your cup back up, you also have to think of the opposite because that's inevitably a bit of a selfish way to think, right? And they say there's gosh, all those types of, self-help books out there or situations life out there that are turned into memes or things like that, "Well, if the plane's going down, you should put your mask on before you can help anybody else." Or, "You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others." And I agree with that. I totally agree with that the entire time. You have to make sure your mind is right. You have to make sure that, what your health is right before you can go around parading at others and telling others what to do. While at the same point, you have to realize that as the tip of the spear, as the entrepreneur, as the leader and the manager in your company, whether you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, you have to give people something to strive for. You have to be the ideal. And that was the message that Jor-El gave his son, Superman in what? One of the what was it? Man of Steel. In Man of Steel, where he said, "You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive for. They will stumble, they will chase after you, they will stumble, they will fall, but in time you will help them accomplish wonders." And it's the same with your team. It's the same with your staff. You have to be the ideal person for them to follow. In
Mm.
a weight loss clinic that we run, you have to look good. You have to have lost weight. Never trust a fat trainer. Also, never trust an overweight or obese fat like a person trying to tell you to lose weight. Same with aesthetics, with Botox and fillers. You got to look the part, or natural beauty, or skincare. If you're trying to sell skincare, you got to use the skincare. If you're trying to sell PRP, you should be using the PRP. Or
Or
have
at
at least have gotten
gotten
it
it.
done before. Anything
Anything that
that you sell,
sell
you
you
should believe in the
product
product and give the people
on
underneath you belief in that product. And that starts with belief in yourself. Like, you should strive to be the absolute ideal. It's not perfect. That doesn't mean perfect in every way. That doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. It means worth following.
Where do you feel like you chase the ideal still in your own life?
Well, in everything, I'm always chasing the ideal. In everything, I'm always chasing the best that I could possibly be. You know, Vince Lombardi said, "Chase perfection. You'll never catch it, but you'll catch excellence, which is
Mhm.
just below that." And just like shoot for the moon and you'll land among the stars, which is actually not possible, but you get the point, sort of thing. You have to still chase the ideal in everything that you do. You should. Um, I had an argument with one of my business partners last weekend, and he's done a phenomenal job of growing his business, growing his income, doing what he needs to do to succeed. And he always keeps saying, or kept saying, stopped it. Like, well, I only want to make, 750K a year. That's all I want to make. That's all I want to do. And I'm like, and it's been years of saying this. And finally, I had enough of it last week. And I was like, I need you to fucking stop that from now on. Because I cannot have a business partner that only wants to make $750,000 a year. Because inevitably, you're going to make probably 1/10 of what you really wanna make. You're gonna do 25% of what you really wanna do. That's just life in general. So your goals have to be just wildly ambitious because you're gonna get to 25, 30. May if you're 50% of what your goals are in a certain period of time, then you will have won. But really highly ambitious people, you gotta push the envelope because we know you're gonna land a whole heck of a lot shorter than that.
But
I
you're
know.
striving for
Yeah.
more.
I know I wanna be a billionaire by age 50. I got 11 years. Will I reach it? I don't know, but at the same time, like, that's a big number. Billion is very different than a million, which is very different than 100,000, like, but that is a whole 'nother number. It's a whole 'nother set of things that I gotta do in order to get there, businesses that I gotta build, people that I have to build up, people that I have to hire to get there. And so with him as well, it was like, you have to push to be the ideal, because I can't have people around me who don't want the ideal for themselves. Because all that's gonna do is gonna drag me down. That's
And it's
all
like
it's gonna do.
settling for mediocrity.
It is. It
Like,
is. With him, it
who
is. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, with some people, okay, that could be a great stretch goal. With him, and I've seen what he can do and everything like that, and I believe in him, yeah, that's mediocre. And especially if you're my business partner. I wanna build multi-million dollar companies. I wanna build, billion-dollar companies. I can't have a business partner who doesn't have that mindset. All that's gonna do is pull you down, guys. So, you need to have the ideal that doesn't come from ego. It comes from aspiration. It comes from wanting to succeed and wanting to win and wanting to bring all your people with you as much as possible. And so I'm always chasing the ideal. It's always going to be a fucking problem though.
Does chasing the ideal ever feel like a heavy burden?
Yeah. 100%. Whether you're in business and you're trying to be the best business owner, the best business leader, the best business manager, or it's marriage, you're trying to be the best husband, the best wife, the best whatever, or a dad, you're trying to be the best mother, you're trying to be the best father, you're never going to be the ideal. You're never going to be the ideal because doing great in one automatically, one of the others has to suffer a little bit or a lot. If you wanna be great in business and you pour everything into business, you're gonna have less family time, less friend time, less time for your spouse. If you have if you pour everything into your family and you're there for everything 24/7, top to bottom, well, guess what? You're not gonna be able to work on your business as much as you want to, and it's not going to be as big as you want it to. That's the trade-off. But so just fucking remember that. There is no balance. And people are like, "Well, I can do both." Cool, you can do both to a degree. Let's be fucking real. If you didn't have your family, your business would probably be twice the size. And if you didn't have your business, you'd probably have a lot more time with your family.
How do you reconcile trying to be heroic, but also still being human?
What I do is I drive around with my police scanner on and I set homes on fire that have children in them. And then I race in and save those children. And so I'm both human and heroic at the same time.
Causing issues so you can solve them.
Yeah, yeah. Be the first one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, the interesting part about this whole podcast is I am, like, terrible at following storylines in movies.
Oh, okay.
Terrible. So I know I can watch probably every Superman that ever comes out and still not totally understand the premise or the reason or the message.
Really? It's fucking Superman. Like, what is there about like an alien that just saves the human race in certain cases is do you just not get? Like,
I don't know.
it's really not that difficult.
It doesn't land for me. It's very there's definitely a block there because even in like, okay, Lex Luthor is the fuel behind Superman's fire. If you were to ask me
Mhm.
who Superman is doing all of this, like, because I would have no idea. I would be like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I'm reading it, so I know that, but
He just knows Lex Luthor is the bad guy, apparently. Yeah. Off
but if
of reading
somebody
it.
were to say to me, like, genuinely, like, "Who's the villain in Superman?" I would be like, "I have no idea."
There's so many. It's like Spider-Man or any other comics. They just made up a bunch of villains as they go. But yes,
Okay.
Lex Luthor is his main enemy. His main enemy is really a super ultra wealthy billionaire who controls a big corporation and uses his money to buy all types of technology and create all sorts of weapons against Superman. And so he isn't a monster. He's just a like the opposite of Superman. He's a man that has, ego, greed, control issues, and so that's they're just opposite of each other. They made,
But he's, like,
different
the villain
decisions.
in it?
Yes,
So there always
he's
has
one
to
of
be a
them.
villain,
Of
like,
course,
always.
of course.
I mean, the whole life story between good and evil.
Mhm.
So I feel like that gets played out in entertainment
Yeah,
always.
absolutely.
Because there has to be some reason to watch it,
Yeah. It's the
so
hero's journey. The backstories of all these are all the same. Every single one of these, whether you're a villain or whether you're a hero in the story, the backstories are very, very much the same. It's always comes down to a choice. So the hero's journey is always the same. At the beginning, there's some sort of call to adventure, call to be them, be greater than themselves. Then there's some sort of supernatural, like, or like support, whether that's Gandalf the Grey, or maybe that is the in Superman. Maybe that's his, his father and the Fortress of Solitude, kind of guiding him, or in any movie. In Batman, it's like his ridiculous amount of money. He doesn't really have a supernatural aid. That's why, like, Batman's just like, I'm Batman, because that's about fucking it. And then there's some sort of helper or mentor. So Batman has his butler, Alfred. Superman has his both his alien father through the Fortress of Solitude and old stories, and his human father, which makes him both human and alien and powerful. And anybody has they all have a mentor, and the mentor, helps them through the challenging times. They might recruit people to the team, and then there's some sort of like death and rebirth of that character. There's transformation, there's atonement, and then they return to another journey. And that's the hero's journey. It happens over and over and over. Any show, any movie, Star Wars, for example, with Luke Skywalker, you know, always something terrible that happens. It's why Disney has the hero's journey as well. What happens at the beginning of Bambi?
Oh,
Bam! First fucking 45 seconds, Bambi's parent, boom, fucking blown Bambi guts everywhere,
Well, and the
right?
reason
And it
is because kids are watching it, so they always kill a parent.
yeah, always.
'Cause the only thing a kid can
Yeah.
even, like, have a sense of, like, sadness about. It's really twisted actually when
Well,
you think about it, but
Disney also wrote that very early on because he had step-parents that he actually fucking hated, and that's why there's always evil step-parents in all of his shows, or the parent
Oh.
dies right away.
Oh.
Yeah, in almost every show. Like,
Hmm.
"Where's Ariel's mom?"
Mhm.
"Hmm, what
Hmm.
happened?"
Yeah.
Never thought about that, huh?
Yeah.
Ariel's mom, Bambi, straight
Simba,
up, Simba,
Mufasa.
Mufasa died. Mufasa died later, which was actually a little bit different, but, Snow White, evil stepsisters, her
Mhm.
parents are dead.
Cinderella.
Cinderella,
Yeah.
her parents are dead. Like, all that shit, we don't know about any of that. And so, the hero's journey is always the same. The choice is what creates a villain or creates a hero. Choice in all of these. So, again, Superman left and was sent from Krypton to essentially the United States because aliens only visit the US in movies. So, he he came to Earth, right? And he came actually from his parents to conquer the planet. That's in the comics. He was supposed to conquer the planet. He could easily conquer the planet. But his human dad, his human parents taught him to be human, and he had a choice, and he made that choice to be human and be a savior versus being a conqueror, right?
Mm.
In the same breath, let's go with Batman. Batman's parents were murdered. He could have fallen into crime and evil and all that stuff as well, but no, he went to crime fighting and avenging his parents. That was a choice that he made. But if you look at the villains in Batman, you have Harvey Dent, who was going to be running for mayor. He was staunch against all of the crime that was happening in Gotham City. And then all of a sudden, he has this horrible accident to him and he becomes a villain, becomes cynical. He makes a choice to become cynical. Same with the Joker, mad scientist, falls into his lab, causes issues. Again, he turns into a villain. He has a choice. They all have choices, and that's the biggest thing in the hero's journey, and that's the biggest thing with this concept in general is that you have a fucking choice of who you want to be. Whether you want to be a hero or whether you want to be a villain, you have a choice. And there's nothing better than being the hero of your own story, than being the hero of your own journey, because the story you're writing is about you and no one else. In the end, no one's gonna have a side chapter about, you know, this person or that person. And if they do, again, it's gonna be one chapter of your very, very, very long life. There were chapters before I met Stephanie. There were chapters before we had kids. There are gonna be chapters when those kids leave the house. There's gonna be different chapters throughout your entire life. And if you wanna be a hero, you're gonna have to make heroic choices.
One of the things about the villain energy is it's typically, a dark energy. And as you're saying, we have a choice. Everyone has a choice to do good or, be the hero, be the villain. That would indicate that all of us have the dark energy within. It's just what we choose to do with it. So, where do you feel like you channel dark energy, like, to be a positive thing versus choosing it for negative?
When you use that dark energy in a way that drives you, I mean, it's going to burn way hotter than anything else that possibly can. That fuck you energy is going to be that is the next level stuff right there. And in business, you're going to have an enemy. You have to have somebody you're fighting against. Is it a certain, in the medical field, disease? Is it a way of people living? Is it mediocrity? Is it in your is it a broken healthcare system? those are all things we're fighting against. Those are our villains. And sometimes it might be a personal villain. It might be someone that you gotta prove wrong. All those things are good. I don't think that they're negative at all. Those are all good things. Those are all things that you can use those that dark energy for because teams they need a shared enemy. They need a mission. They need a vision for who to combat against. And that dark energy has driven me through all sorts of bad times, the lows, and when you're thinking, "I can't do this anymore," it's like, "No, I still gotta prove that motherfucker wrong. I still gotta do this because those people think I can't do it, or they're waiting on me to fail." And it's a huge part of being successful is that every person who's successful, every great athlete who is successful, they all have that negative aspect to them, meaning that they all tell themselves something about who they're fighting or who they're going against, who they're playing against to make sure that they stay in the zone. And I'll give you the fucking worst advice I've ever gotten was from a business mentor at some point in my career. It was like, "Hey, I see you, using that fuck you energy and burning people to the ground and blah, blah, blah. And in the end, that burns really hot for a short period of time, but you end up burning yourself out."
Why do you feel like that was bad
And that
advice?
was the worst fucking advice I ever got. Because the amount of heat that comes off negative energy will burn long after you're dead. It just will. And so people say, well, you can forgive. I don't forget. And in the end, like when people show you who they are or if they're going to go against you or whatever, you fucking crush their throats. Period. There should be no fucking question about that. It should be if somebody's going to come up against you, your business, your family, your lifestyle, there's plenty of room on the boat with you. There's plenty of room. But if they don't, bring out the triple guns because I'm going to fucking sink you to the bottom of the ocean. Period. And it doesn't burn you out. It fucking doesn't. Go watch The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. That dark energy fueled him his entire fucking career and
Yeah.
continues to fuel him even afterwards. Go look at, Tiger Woods. That dark energy continues to fuel him afterwards. He's still fucking playing just so he could prove other people wrong, essentially. Eh, That dark energy, yes, it burns hot and it burns long, but as long as you use it in a constructive way and not a destructive way, it will burn longer than any other energy out there. Long, long, long after you actually need it anymore.
It's like controlled. That's the
Absolutely.
thing. It's like having it, but controlling how it manifests in your life so that it turns into a positive. It's that I think takes, takes a great deal. Do you feel like you always had that? Like you knew how to channel it into something positive?
I think being an athlete, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why athletes become successful entrepreneurs, um, because they learn how to work on teams. They learn how to lead teams. They learn that there is this concept, which is lost on people nowadays, of fucking winning and losing. Like, there has to be losers in order for you to win every once in a while. And there could be the win-win, but in business, there's a competition. In life, there's a competition. I'm sure there were other people that wanted to be around Sean, during your relationship. You won. You beat all them other bitches, right? It's the same in whether it's relationships or whether it's business or whether it's just life. It is competition. So You have to realize that. And so that helps you in all those different things. My experiences growing up created me. It created that dark energy. And as you get older or you get more experienced in business, the wins that you stack will start to create that dark energy.
Mm.
And I'm not saying you make a few wins and you go around start telling people fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, but remember all the times that somebody said you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna be great. You these people this isn't for your type of people. Remember all those things. Write those things down. Let them fuel you. And then go out and say, "Hey, I'm gonna prove this person wrong. They got it fucking wrong about me." I mean, look at Shark Tank. There's a whole bunch of great businesses now, multi-million, billion-dollar businesses that came out of Shark Tank because they went in front of them, they said no, they rejected them, and they said, "You know what? I'll fucking show you." And you ask and they interview those winners, those people who have built the multi-billion dollar businesses afterwards, and they're like, "Yeah." I was just like, "You know what? You're all fucking wrong. Period."
Mm. That's a good example. Uh, Another thing to take note of when it comes to Superman is no matter how powerful you are, pride can still take you down. I think about this, whether we're supposed to talk about this on the podcast or not. Uh, the situation happening from the Coldplay concert that the whole world has now seen,
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
like that, like recognizing that no matter how powerful you are, stupid decisions will take you down. Pride, ego, thinking you're never going to get caught or whatever. It can take you down. And I feel like I've seen situations where powerful people do things that you go, "Well, yeah, dumbass. What did you think was gonna happen?" You know? And so when it comes to Superman, like how does that knowing impact your life? Because live a lot based on what Superman means and what he did and this hero's journey. And how does that impact you, knowing that as powerful as you are, pride could still take you down?
Yep. No, it's absolutely true. Absolutely fucking true. In Superman, Doomsday, he didn't care about, you know, Superman's super strength. It was negated by his overpowering strength. He didn't care about his, you know, heat vision, his ability to fly, all that stuff. Doomsday just kept coming and he pounded him into the dirt and he ended up killing him. And that's the reality of life. Like pride will make you sloppy, you know. And it is true. Success makes you soft. You know, hard times create hard men. You know, weak times, or what was the phrase? Go back,
You'd have
and
to
I'll say
say
that
that
into the
really
microphone.
slow.
So, Mason, what's the phrase?
Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make hard times.
And so, when you are building your business and you're becoming that, strong man, it's because hard times is what's in front of you. A smooth sea never made for a skilled sailor.
Hmm.
Never trust a knight in shining armor because that means he's never been to fucking war. All those things, they're all saying the same shit. They're all saying that, you know, just because you're at the top right now, today, doesn't mean you're immortal. It doesn't mean you're safe. Doesn't mean you're immune to everything. If you do not focus on some sort of humility, staying alert, keep working, keep growing, you're going to get blindsided. Somebody's going to knock you off. Somebody's hungrier than you and will continue to follow you that entire time. Gonna happen.
Let's talk about a time where you had a doomsday moment and maybe you got hit harder than what you were expecting, and how did you pick yourself up after that?
Being an entrepreneur and a business owner, you're gonna have your doomsday moments all the time. Literally, they come all the time and they'll come out of nowhere and they'll hit you. And at that moment in time, you feel like you're dying. You feel like it's the end. You feel like this is it. This is all. I don't have anything else left. And then you miraculously somehow survive. And you get a little bit tougher and a little bit harder. And then the next thing comes and it hits you and you get the wind knocked out of you and you're down on your knees and you're coughing up blood and think this is the end. This is it. And you get up and you miraculously survive. And that's going to happen in business as an entrepreneur. That's going to happen in business as an entrepreneur. It's going to happen as a manager. It's going to happen as a leader. It's going to happen as a parent, as a husband, as a wife. It's going to happen over and over and over again. And nobody talks about that on social media. Nobody says this is normal on Instagram.
Mm.
Everybody thinks that your life is supposed to be perfect and your relationships are supposed to be perfect and your business is not supposed to have a down year or a down month or a down decade. Everybody thinks that you're supposed to not have any type of doomsday moments. But that's the human condition. The human condition is surviving despite all those things that happen to you, despite all the times where you get the wind knocked out of you and wind taken out of your sails, and despite all those times, getting back up and continuing to go, continuing to rise, continue to improve, life's always going to hit you harder than expected,
Mm.
over and over and over again, in family, in relationships, and in business. And you just get harder to it. Your knuckles just get tougher. Your exterior just gets harder. Your ability to deal with the bullshit of life, both internally in your business and externally outside your business, gets stronger and stronger. And like I've said before, there are things that happen in business this year that would have killed me in my first year of business. That I am just like, okay, that was just another hit. Something else I had to deal with. And I got through it and I survived and we move on. But if they happened that first year, they would have crushed me. But I would have never been able to get those punches, those doomsday moments if I wasn't striving for growth, for improvement, for greatness in general. So you're going to have to continuously grow. And at the same time, you're going to have to realize that if you are trying to grow, if you are trying to be great, then you're going to feel like sometimes doomsday punched you in the fucking face.
Knowing that, how do you keep yourself from, like, living in fear?
Because it's the what if of if I don't do it. You see, most people are, entrepreneurs, especially in the medical field. They think, what if I do this and I fail? What if I put in all this time, all this effort, all this money, and it doesn't pan out? Well, what if you don't? What's the worst that can possibly happen? And for people in the medical field, there isn't a lot of bad what ifs. If you don't do this, well, you get to walk back into essentially any medical clinic, urgent care, hospital, and get your job back or get another job with equal pay in our field. There are so many, there's so many shortages. It's the people focused on the what if it fails versus the what if you don't even try. Your life that you're sitting in right now is going to be your life forever, probably,
Mm.
especially in the corporate world. And so that's how I stay, on edge without living in that fear is like, you're always gonna be afraid. That never goes away.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah,
Just accept the fear, know it's there, and
yeah,
don't let it stop you
yeah, it's an
from what you
absolute
want.
choice. It's an absolute choice for how you respond to that fear is a choice.
Yeah. I mean, I have heard it said, like, if you have a heartbreak, you're not gonna let that stop you from loving again. So it's like if you have a setback, you're not gonna like, don't let that stop you from trying again, trying something different, taking what you learned, and you're never starting from where you were before it all happened, because you have new understanding, new knowledge, new relationships, new wisdom. So, like, all of that stuff just sets you up. So it's very interesting to think about. 'Cause it's almost like the failures, the doomsday moments are the ones that actually propel you forward. So you should embrace those,
Right.
because those are the ones that teach you what you need to know so that then next time you're prepared for it. And those things aren't gonna hit you the same. It's not gonna impact you like it did the first time. And we've talked about that on other podcasts, first time you get sued, it's like the whole world's crumbling. You think it's terrible. I just had a conversation with somebody who got sued for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, you'll be fine." She's like, "Yeah, you've been there, you know?" So, like, after a couple times, you're like, "It sucks, of course," like, you go through those process, it's not like those are enjoyable times and you're, sipping tea thinking about how grateful you are you got sued, but it's like sometimes those things are just a setup for your future,
Yes.
and looking at things with a level of like, what does this mean on the other side of it? Can change its perspective, can really change how you feel going through it, and then also what happens after a year
Yeah.
on the other side.
I watch a lot of cartoons when I get the chance to. I wouldn't say a lot, that was a misnomer. So I watch cartoons when I get the chance to, but I'm not watching, like, SpongeBob or Tom and Jerry. Most of my cartoons I watch are, Japanese anime. And I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, Von Kohler, and he's like, "Well, why do you watch that? Like, what do you I don't get it. What do you watch about it?" And I'm like, "Well, it actually teaches me a lot of cool shit." I did, and it has a lot of history, it has a lot of things like that, and the reason why anime gets a bad rap, I think, is because it is a cartoon. People think that, well, comic books or cartoons and all that shit, that's just for kids. And in the end, you don't really understand. If you think like that, you don't understand mythology. You don't understand how stories were passed down from generations to generations as lessons. I mean, even as simple as the one that everyone likes to use on Facebook and Instagram because they think it's so insightful is the old Native American story where they're telling the concept of two wolves. There are always two wolves inside of you. And the one you feed is the one that comes out. Mason's laughing because it's true, because all these people fucking post this shit all the time. Right? What'd you say? Yeah, you make jokes about it all the time. It's like there's two wolves inside you and the one you feed. Like, which one wins? The one you feed. And it's like, okay, cool. But that's the lesson. The lesson is in that story, between the two wolves, which are two like opposing characters, which one will win? Well, the one that you focus more on, the one that you feed. And I it's the same in Japanese anime where it teaches you a lot about history. It teaches you a lot about different shit. I mean, I learned how to cut your vegetables without fucking chopping your fucking fingers off from a Japanese anime. Because I used to hold it like this, right? If people can see it, I used to hold like I'll hold the mic. So I used to hold the mic, right? Used to hold something like this to chop, right? With my fingers. Okay? But they taught me to curl your fingers in like this, right? So when you're chopping, great chefs chop like this because the blade rubs against here, and you don't raise the blade high enough to actually chop your fucking fingers. But here, even if you raise it just a little bit, you can get the edge of your finger. If you go like this, the side of the blade is always chopping your finger, and you never have to worry about chopping your fucking finger off. That's what I learned from Japanese anime.
It's incredible.
It's amazing, right? I learned about why do they call it a, a pinch of salt or a pinch of whatever?
Well, I'm assuming because you have to pinch it
Yeah,
in
with what
order
fingers?
your
Nope.
pincher fingers?
Nope. Fucking wrong.
I don't know.
It's the same reason why you drink tea with your pinky out. Because this finger, if you didn't touch the cup, your pinky finger would not get wet. And if you had a finger that wasn't wet, you can actually use your thumb and your pinky to grab a dash of salt or a dash of spice and put it on your food and not get the bowl of spice wet. So that's why you drink tea fancy with your pinky out so that you can use that pinky to put a dash of spice on your food.
Incredible
Fucking
stuff. I
Japanese
love it.
anime cartoons teaching you all sorts
I
of
have to
cool
ask my son
shit like
these
that.
things because he
So,
he loves
yeah,
we went to the movies, like,
yeah,
we've went to the movies to watch anime movies
yeah,
because like, I usually let him pick the
yeah.
movie,
That's
and
awesome.
so I've seen some.
But yeah, there you go. If you think comic books are for kids, it's like you don't understand mythology or storytelling or anything like that. So Superman isn't just a symbol. The S on his chest was a symbol for hope in his home planet. For us, it was just an S on Earth. So comics are the modern day myths, or the modern day way of teaching stories. Movies are modern day comics as well, going and learning about the hero's journey or interpersonal skills or all those, there's always a point to the end of it.
Well, in the Bible,
Yeah.
I mean, every single parable in there is really just a story to teach a lesson. Whether or not you believe that those stories are real or not, they're all just to teach a lesson.
Yes. Cut the 100%. Yes, 100%. Every single one of them are to make you better. So the medium, whatever you use, like a show, uh, I mean, written prose, a book, YouTube video, Instagram, whatever, don't apologize for wanting to consume that stuff if it makes you better.
Mm.
There's stuff out there, yeah, that's just smut and is garbage and it's gonna make you no better in any way. But if you are learning lessons from certain aspects of, I don't know, a book or a TV show or a movie or whatever, don't apologize for that. You're just getting better. You're improving yourself. And the way you do that could be however the fuck you want to. Really.
Yeah, so don't write people off that they're childish or something like that because they like comic books or anime because, that's where they get their lessons from. It's that's interesting, because the lessons can come if you're looking for them. And that's the thing. You have to want it. You have to wanna learn. You have to want to see the value in what it is that you're watching or taking in, consuming, and whatever you go in with is what you're gonna get back. So it's not like you're watching anime going, "I just wanna sit here mindlessly." You're expecting to learn something, and you do. And it's the
Mhm.
same thing with the comics and with Superman. The lessons that you've been able to take from watching it, living it, having it tattooed on your back have been very important lessons in your life and, have been a reason why you've been able to implement those things to create success. Um, how do you feel like other people can connect with stories more to get something valuable out of them?
I think something that they can do is discussing it with friends or family or colleagues, somebody that they respect and trust. That could be a start to it. What did you get out of this movie? What did you think about it? Book clubs, what did you get out of this chapter? Those are always good things. Um, I think if you're a leader, if you are trying to make a point, then tell a story about it. Make up a story. That's what stories used to be, and they still are. Like, they're just made up shit. Like, and it's always funny because people are, you know, I saw somebody arguing the other day on Facebook about the way that uh SpongeBob SquarePants' home was built structurally, they're like, structurally, it couldn't, really be built this way because of XYZ, and somebody just commented, like, "The dude is a fucking talking sponge that literally goes and cooks cheeseburgers for a living, and you're arguing about how he built his fucking house." Like, what are you again, what the fuck are you thinking about? Sort of thing. And just having an idea conversation with other people who have that same mindset, again, if it's a book club, how is this gonna help us grow? How are we gonna apply this? How are we gonna improve ourselves with this? If it's a movie, what'd you get out of that? What did you think about that? What do you believe is they were trying to say here and here? So I think telling more stories as well. If you don't have kids, tell it to your team. Your team will enjoy a good story. Everyone enjoys a great story, no matter who the fuck you are. You still enjoy a good story, period.
You really do. It's interesting how it locks you in and drives home a concept.
Mhm.
It's really wild. In the network I'm in for personal development, we have a page and we'll post contemplations. So it's really just a concept that we put on there, somebody will put on there, and then everyone in the network will go in and share their viewpoint on it. So it's really kinda cool because you see so many different viewpoints and why it means a certain topic might mean something to someone, and then you see it from another viewpoint or perspective, and it's just this really open dialogue where everything's okay, everything's accepted, how you see it, how you feel it, what you think about it is yours, and and people wanna share, it's like this open forum to just express how you see things, uh, and I've learned a lot just being open to see how other people view something. So, asking questions is important. Isaac just told me the other day that he finished a new book that he had bought. And that was my question to him, like, what did you get out of it? And he shared with me like 4 or 5 things he got out of it. Uh, I get more out of him through text. So we were texting. So he shared with me what he got out of it. And then after he got done, I said, how do those things relate to your life? 'Cause it's great, like, you got that, but then, like, how would you, like, implement those things, or how does that apply to your daily life and what you're gonna do or change or how you view things? Like, how does it
Right,
change
right.
that?
Mhm.
Um, and he came back with, like, a bunch of things that he thought, and we ended up having, like, a 2-day text dialogue just from me being curious, like,
That's great.
just as a mom, like, being curious, like, what is that for you?
Yeah.
You know? I like asking questions, so I am a great co-host on the podcast because I can ask you questions all day
Right?
long,
There
I'm
you go.
curious about these
There
things
you go.
draw more out of you, but we try not to make this an interrogation, so I add a little bit of my own opinion along the way. But I could ask you questions for days. I find people fascinating. What is that? Like, why is that? How's that work? So if you just slow down long enough to find out the reason behind things, yeah, you learn a lot. You learn a
Absolutely.
lot that way. Uh, this has been fun conversation. Something I do know about Superman is he originated in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, yes, that's a great point.
Yes. So I'm from Ohio. I did not know this until recently because I did not have very much attention on Superman until I met you, and then I knew you were crazy about Superman, and so then I was like, "Oh, okay," started seeing Superman more places. So the last time I went to Cleveland, I come down the escalator, and there is this huge, uh, like I would say, like, museum type of attraction in the Cleveland airport that I had never seen before. And so I don't know if I went to a different place or I was just aware of it, so it was in my space, but the structure that they have of Superman is massive, so it's like you feel like this is a hero. But then it had all these comics and information about Superman, which is when I found out that it actually started in Cleveland,
Mhm.
which I was very excited to share with you.
Yeah.
because I felt like I know a little something about Superman now.
Yeah. That was
Came
awesome.
from
I
came
didn't
from
actually
my
know that
hometown.
until you told me, so that's incredible.
Yeah. So, I'm here to bring a little piece of Superman to you.
There you go. From Ohio.
From Ohio. Yeah. So if you have questions and you're listening to this podcast, you can comment, share, all the things, engage with it. But you can also reach out to Dr. Alex to ask him more questions about how all of this stuff plays out in life and business if you are interested in implementing this hero's journey in your life and becoming a hero in your own business and with your own family. Reach out through dralexspinoso.com. Also join Charismatics. So if you're in a medical company, medical setting, and you want to grow, understand, and be your absolute best, not settling for mediocrity, then mediocrity? Is that right? Media
Mediocrity.
mediocrity. Not settling in your life, then you have to check out Charismatics because they are going to help you up level your mindset when it comes to what you can create in business. So check out both of those things. Dr. Alex has a bunch of free courses on his website, dralexspinoso/free courses. And Charismatics also, you guys are starting to post a lot more free content on there. So just check it out. See if it's a good fit for you. Reach out if you want to have a conversation with Dr. Alex Spinoso. Ask him all the questions that you think I should have asked that I didn't ask
There
on
you
the
go.
podcast. um, so that being said, I think when it comes to really focusing on being strong in your business, being that hero, being somebody that people can look up to and really strive to follow, being seen, being the best version of yourself. It's a form of saving the world. I think I tend to do that. I have some thoughts around what's something passionate for me and what that means in my future. And it is like saving women, if you will, like this sense of saving, helping women feel their very best and giving them the tools to do that. And there's a sense of saving them, and creating a better life for them that drives me. So show up, stand up, speak up for what you believe in, stay humble in your little Smallville way, whatever that looks like for you. These are all incredible concepts that we can pull from what Superman brought to the world.
Yeah, that's perfect. You don't have to wear a cape. You don't have to wear an outfit from top to bottom, but you do need a vision. You do need values. You do need a fight that is worth showing up for, and you need a villain. While at the same time, you need the humility to know that you're not going to be invincible in this process. You will need other people. They will need you. The best leaders, they stay human while at the same time trying to be a little bit super. Thanks for listening, guys. Always like, share, comment. We appreciate every single one of you. Have a good one.